It's Wednesday, July 30th. So happy trade deadline eve. Welcome back to Cardinal Territory. Katie and Bernie here to cover the final 24-ish hours before MLB's trade deadline officially hits. That's scheduled for Thursday. That's tomorrow, July 31st at 5 p.m. Central Time. A couple of trades taking place today. I saw Austin Slater went to the New York Yankees. All was quiet here on the Cardinals front, and I expect it to remain that way up until tomorrow. Then things will pick up. Ryan Helsley, Phil Maton, and Steven Matz are still the most likely players to go at this deadline, but John Mozeliak has always kind of been he's been okay with waiting until the deadline final buzzer beater to make a move. You think about his significant trades as of late. He swapped Tommy Edman for Eric Fedde and Tommy Pham the afternoon of the deadline last year. 2023, he sent Jack Flaherty an hour before the deadline. And then he traded Harrison Bader for Jordan Montgomery minutes before the 2022 deadline. Same with his deal for John Lester. Those all happened maybe 3 or 4 minutes before the deadline officially hit its cutoff. So sit and wait patiently as much as you can, Cardinals fans. Things should start to pick up in the next 24 hours. They kind of have to. Otherwise, we're having a much bigger problem. Bernie, how do you feel about the trade deadline?
Well, I'm just like everyone else. I'm just waiting to see if, John Mozeliak will make the most of it, or whether, I'm not trying to be a jackass. Okay. But, I have to admit, part of me is like wondering, is it even possible for him to screw this up? And let me just say, I guess everything is possible. I mean, I think skepticism is understandable. So
sure.
There's no need to pass any judgment yet, but they do have assets. They do have expiring contracts. They have 3 relievers plus Jojo Romero, who's got a year left in a market where I read The Athletic all the time, and all the national writers, yourself, keep talking, understandably so, about how there is this dire need for relief help. And the Cardinals have basically 4 guys to peddle. And, I do think sometimes, we expect that they will get a lot for these guys. And I'm never sure whether that's a safe prediction, because I've seen it where, teams will go nuts and give you a lot for your relievers, but I've also seen deadlines where it doesn't happen. So I don't know what to expect, but when you have 4 relievers, 3 on expiring contracts in a market where contenders are scrambling for relief help, you got to make the most of it. You just have to. There's no justification for not doing that.
Absolutely. You have to capitalize on these returns. And that's why I'm okay with John Mozeliak taking his time here. There's no need to rush into anything. The Cardinals have all of the leverage here, so you might as well use it to your advantage. And I will say this about Mo. He might not hit on every single return, but he's one of the best negotiators in the league because he gets what he wants. He wanted Tommy Pham in that Eric Fedde deal that had come to fruition a night before, but he wasn't settled with just Fedde. He wanted Tommy Pham, so he gets out and he gets it. He is okay. I've actually used some of his negotiation tactics to when I was negotiating my own contract. So they do work. He knows how to negotiate. We can have a different conversation about the returns and if they've panned out, because most of them have not. And I won't fight you there. But this is a time where the Cardinals have, again, all of the leverage at a time where the relief pitching market is at its highest. There are not a lot of bona fide closers out there. There is David Bednar from the Pirates, maybe Pete Fairbanks from the Rays if they sell, but they're walking this tightrope and they really don't want to let him go. Emmanuel Clase is on the I can't remember the official term. It's like the paid leave investigation. Yeah. He's not able to play until August 31st. Maybe Joanne Duran breaks into that list as well, but there are just not a lot of options out there for a league.
I'm sorry. I have such terrible manners. Just cut my microphone off when I'm doing that. I apologize to you. But I'm with you because listen, I've been really, really, really tough on Mo, and I think most of that is warranted. Maybe sometimes I go a little overboard, but whatever. The one thing I do is I try to be fair, and I will defend him. And there's a lot of people, fans or whomever, that even when he's made some really good trades at the deadline, they'll try to tell you they weren't really good trades. The hell they weren't. I mean, in 2022, in addition to Montgomery, he got Jose Quintana, and both of those guys were terrific. The Cardinals, after they got those 2 guys, and their rotation was bleeding at that time, down the stretch, Those two starters combined, the Cardinals were 17-6 in their starts. I mean, you cannot come up any bigger than that at the trade deadline when you need starting pitching. They were excellent. And Quintana basically had the Phillies beat in game 1 of the playoffs that year. So, and then in 21, you mentioned Lester, and then there's also Jay Happ. He got them on the same day. He gave up nothing. Well, Lane Thomas was okay. But the point is, the Cardinals, people, you have to remember, they were desperate. They were utterly desperate for starting pitching. And Happ and Lester did really, really well for what they needed. No one's saying, they're Tom Seaver and Don Drysdale or whatever, but they did really, really well for a team that was desperate for starting pitching. Most reasons for making the Fedde trade were logical and sound, and I approved of the trade. I thought it was good. Keith Law, The Athletic, and many others wrote, "Hey, Mo got the top available starter on the market." And he gave up an infielder that was hurt, and they weren't going to re-sign when his contract expired. So this was a heck of a trade. Bottom line, it didn't work out, but that doesn't.
At the time, it was a good trade.
Yeah.
At the time.
In other words, both things can be true, meaning the thinking behind the trade was absolutely right. But then you have the final result. Nope, it didn't work out. Both things can be true. And, I think 2023, where he offloaded Flaherty and Montgomery and some others. I don't think there's a full verdict in yet. I think a lot of that will depend on what Tekoa Roby becomes, and we're not going to find that out for quite a while now. And same with Sajasi. And, they also got Matt Swanson in that. And there's a couple other guys that could surface. I'm not going to give up on those guys yet. But Mo, I'll never forget, Katie, and I'll shut up because this is like, listen, let me give you a history lesson here. No. In 2013, the Cardinals really, really needed relief help. And Cardinals fans were clamoring for Jonathan Broxton, who was having a good year. And all these relievers were coming off the shelves. And Mo got a guy from the Marlins named Edward Mujica. And at the time, I was hosting the show 101 ESPN. And when he traded for Edward Mujica, when all these big name relievers were going off the shelves, people were losing their minds. Right? Oh, Mo, thanks. Boy, big help there. I don't even know who this guy is. Mujica saved their season. It wouldn't say their season. They were really good. We're talking about a National League pennant winner. And he was outstanding. That trade might have been 2012. In 2013, Mujica was an all-star. He was outstanding. He had 37 saves one year. So Mo has made some good moves that he doesn't get enough credit for. But again, because I am guilty of this, I am skeptical. So we'll see. I've lost some trust in him, to say the least.
And that's totally fair. And I think a lot of fans share that sentiment. We'll get into that. We'll get into the market for what the Cardinals relievers look like. We'll get into how the dynamic is working with Mo and Chaim Bloom quickly after we hear a message from our sponsors at Superpower.
Kratz, at some point, we're going to laugh about how healthcare was so reactive and not proactive. And we're starting to change that with Superpower. They believe every human has 100+ year potential, and they're here to help you get there. I'm a big believer in this. I just started the journey, so I'm excited about it. And what do you think?
As a player, you're always looking ways to improve yourself, improve your health. And this is an easy way. Superpower's made it way easier than when I was playing. You had to go get all these lab panels, and it was a long, drawn-out, expensive process. But now with Superpower, so this is awesome for me. I'm excited about it.
They'll send a licensed professional to your home, or you can visit a nearby lab. For a limited time, the FT fam can get $50 off an annual Superpower membership by using code FOUL at checkout. Just head to superpower.com and use code FOUL to get our exclusive discount. Your biology decoded, your blueprint activated with Superpower. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and please support FT and tell them we sent you.
I want to know what my biological age is. It's probably like 50 after this deadline.
Can we split it? Can we share a membership to Superpower? That, I swear to you, I was writing that down when they were talking about it. I'm like, I might have to look into that. So
I want to know what that means.
I think I need Superpower help. It might be the only thing that can keep me going. Anyway,
to get through the next 24 hours, I'll need all the help I can get. Just
caffeine.
What a time to be alive. Oh, that's the same banner. We just did that segment. Next. What's the market for the Cardinals relievers? I had a story up on The Athletic yesterday. I thought it was hilarious. Steven Matz pitched an inning in relief on Monday. So my expectation was coming into Tuesday, he would pitch an inning in relief. And I understand why Chip and Brad on the Cardinals broadcast pointed out that when the bottom of the seventh started, how weird of a situation it was because nobody was on the mound. And Matt Swanson comes running into the game. Unfortunately, one of the umpires had some heat exhaustion, but that turned out to be a favorable break for the Cardinals because it gave Swanson some time to warm up. They had nobody up, nobody on the mound. So, of course, this time of year, the speculation was Steven Matz just got traded. Oh, my gosh. No, there was a miscommunication between the phone lines and the dugout and the bullpen, and Swanson never got up. So that was all. But thankfully, everything all worked out. Matz and I laughed about it after the game. I was just thinking, like, what a crazy next 48 hours at the time this is going to be, because we know the market for the Cardinals relievers is going to be so extensive. So no, Steven Matz did not get traded last night. There was just a miscommunication, bad timing all around. I do expect there to be a market for Steven Matz. We'll start with him, potentially as a swingman. As we know, the Cardinals have used Matz mostly as a late inning, multi-inning leverage reliever. And he's thrived there, especially against lefty hitters. I mean, left-handed hitters are hitting less than 200 against him this year. And he's had a couple spot starts. He's up to 40 pitches right now. He could be used as a swingman, and there are plenty of teams that are looking for that role. Matz wants to start, but he's open to anything really at this point. And I wonder if a team like Toronto, where he has past experience with, really enjoyed his time, would be a good fit there. I do know that he's owed about $4.8 million left on that contract. So it's kind of a lot of money for a 2-month rental. But to your point, Bernie, the market for relievers is in such high demand that I could see Matz going before this deadline. Maton, you know what you're going to get with him. Veteran guy, ample postseason experience, owed $700,000 remaining on his contract. He's going to go, and he's going to go quick. Ryan Helsley has several teams in the mix, and we know they are at least the Tigers, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Blue Jays, and the Phillies. The Phillies' interest in Helsley dates back to the offseason. Similar to many people around the organization and the industry as a whole, I believe all three relievers will be out of here come tomorrow afternoon. But to your point, Bernie, I understand why fans might be skeptical that these deals either have a hang-up in the return or don't get done regardless. It is objectively weird to have two president of baseball operations essentially running the show. John Mozeliak will ultimately have the final say. And while we're still working through figuring out the extent of Chaim Bloom's involvement, he is involved. And I find it very, very hard to imagine an organization signing off on a prospect package for the future without including the man responsible for building up the minor leagues. So, Bernie, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, first of all, to go back to what you said at the beginning, I'll be honest with you. I'll be Chicken Little here. I like last night's already gone, but I was thinking, no. Do not put Matz out there for a second inning. Just don't do it. He's got a history of injuries. Just don't do it. Okay. What's the point? No offense to everyone down there sweating and working hard in the Cardinals uniform. I don't care if they win or lose a game. The trade deadline overrules all. I would say the same thing about Helsley tonight if it's a safe situation. Keep him in the bullpen. I don't want to see him because it would be the Cardinals' luck. He comes out and something happens and you know the rest. So, no, just bubble wrap, off limits, have security guards out there that won't let him actually walk through the gate to come into a game. You got to have security out there to prevent it. Anyway, I guess you could say the same for Maton too. And I'm not trying to be so clever here, but no, it's a very weird situation. I wrote a column about it last week. I think it was Friday on STL Sports Central. I don't recall a situation like this ever in St. Louis, and I've been covering the pro sports in this market since 1985, full-time continuously since summer of 89. Never recall anything like this, where you have the guy running the team has already said, well, I'm leaving. And he said it a long time ago, relatively speaking. And so he's got the authority. He is going to have the final say. He has got the power, the control to make all of the decisions as he is basically moves closer to the door, and he won't be around to see or have to deal with, good or bad, those trades, the trades that he's going to make. The ones that go, if some of them go bad or some of them aren't even completed, well, that impacts the next guy. That impacts Chaim Bloom. Like whatever Mo does, and I hope he does well for his sake and for the Cardinals' sake and Chaim Bloom's sake. But if Mo screws this up somehow, well, Mo Mo doesn't have to worry about it. He's gone. It's like not his problem anymore. But the guy who would be left dealing with that problem and the consequences is Chaim Bloom. And I just think that's ridiculous, because here's the deal, Katie, because I was thinking about this a lot. Listen, if they had just hired Chaim Bloom this season, like let's just say he showed up down in Jupiter in March and you're like, oh, what is he doing here? Well, they brought him in as a consultant. Okay. But he's had 2 years to study everything about the Cardinals. And I know his project obviously was an important one, which is to, restore the minor league system, player development, and all things related to that. But Chaim Bloom, who is an incredibly smart man, he has had basically 2 years to study the Cardinals. I think he can make decisions about trades. I think he knows the Cardinals personnel. And with Chaim Bloom and all of his lieutenants out there, including some in the minor leagues right now, like Rob Cerfolio, Larry Day, some other ones, Matt Pierpont, and Chaim has a great network. I'm pretty sure they have a great handle on prospects out there. So since the guy, whatever comes out of this trade deadline, Chaim Bloom is going to have to deal with it. So why not just let him make the call? Because let me tell you something. If after studying the Cardinals for nearly 2 years, and he doesn't have the capability to make a trade, well, why are you putting him in charge for your foreseeable future? It doesn't make any sense. But of course, he does have the capability of making the trades. And I would prefer him to do it because he has to live with whatever comes out of it. John Mozeliak doesn't.
That's a fair point. And I know you are not suggesting that John Mozeliak doesn't care about the return. Okay. He obviously cares about getting it right.
Sure he does.
And that's why I do think Chaim Bloom is in consultation and working with Mo to make sure they get a prospect package that matters for the future. Mo has said it on the record. We're looking towards the future. And if there's one thing Chaim Bloom knows, it's player development and evaluation. He is one of the best in the game at doing so, whether you're looking at his work in Tampa Bay, whether you're looking at his work in Boston. I mean, you look at the Red Sox now and some of those players that have popped up from the minor league system. That's why he's here, because the Cardinals desperately needed some outside perspective in their player development and evaluation model. So he's going to do it. And I would hope that these two are working to make sure they can capitalize on a return, because you are right, Bernie. It's Chaim who's going to have to manage these assets when they come back. And I hate talking about players like that in that way where they're just like pieces. But during this week especially, everything is a business. So that's just kind of the harsh reality of where we're at. I understand why fans, again, are skeptical about Mo calling the shots. And maybe this is on me for phrasing it in the way. When I say Mo is calling the shots, I mean he is ultimately the president of baseball operations. He is the decision maker for the 40-man roster, for the entire baseball operations. He is the final say. That doesn't mean he's not listening to the input of the new player development system. That doesn't mean that he is just, outed Bloom. I think that Chaim is going to have a significant say in this prospect return, because this deadline is not about acquiring major league ready talent. It's about acquiring talent for the future. And if it comes out that he doesn't, then we're going to have a much, much bigger problem. But for right now, I want to trust that these two are working together.
They are.
What I've heard within the organization, though, it's kind of just a big cloud. The Cardinals are very secretive in how they operate at this deadline. We will find out eventually. But right now, I think, Bernie, you and I both, we cannot overstate how important it is that the Cardinals nail their returns for Helsley, Maton, and Matz. And you know what? A quick side thing on Maton before we get to some of the news over the Marlins series. He doesn't want to go anywhere. I sat down with him on Monday and he said, I signed my contract for the summer to be here. I would like to stay. But he's also been traded in July 3 times in his 9-year career, including last year. He knows how this is going to go down. I think the Cardinals should consider bringing him back next year on another free agent deal. He has been instrumental in that bullpen. Ollie Marmol said it best. He said, you think about where we are without Phil, it gets ugly real quick. That it does. So while it's going to hurt to see all three of these guys go, all three have been very good Cardinals. I hope the Cardinals are open to bringing Maton back next year. I thought he did a lot of good things for them.
No doubt about it. And listen, I look forward to for the fans, for Katie Woo and Derek Gould and John Denton and everyone who covers the team on a daily basis. I look forward to the day, which is coming soon, where, and this is not a cheap shot at Mo, it's just the reality, where there will be clarity. about who's running everything.
There will be.
Right
now it makes sense that they're being secretive. I get it.
Yeah, and that cloud's not there. I will say this. I'll be curious to see, is Mo going to play hard to get? Is he going to overplay his hand? That's one question I have. And I'm not saying he will. I just wonder about that. The other thing is I've been talking to some people that know Chaim Bloom very, very well, and they say that other GMs or president of baseball operations, whatever you want to call them, the people that run these departments, that they like him a lot because he's great to deal with. He's a really straightforward guy, but he doesn't try to be a con man. He doesn't try to BS. I mean, he gets down to it. This is what we have. This is what we're looking for. Let's talk about your prospects. What are you willing to do? It's a straightforward conversation. And they know that, when you deal with Chaim Bloom, you can count on his integrity. You can count on the fact that he plays it straight. He's not going to be playing all these games to slow it down and gum it up. And he's a drama-free guy, right? Mm-hmm. And I think in the future that will serve the Cardinals very well because, listen, I know this from my extensive experience covering Mo as the leader of the baseball operations. One of the things I've heard from other teams along the way, I don't know if it's true now, but along the way, it's like, the problem is, he wants to win every deal. Now, of course he does. That's his job. Right, but other executives have told me it's like he wants to win every deal, but he doesn't just want to win the deal. He wants to slaughter the other side. Like he wants to win it as if he's rolling the tanks over the other side.
I do respect
and they kind of find him unreasonable because a lot of guys are straight shooters. It's like, okay, this is what I need. Let's get down to it. This is what I need. Maybe we can compromise on this prospect or that prospect. But, let's make a trade that's going to help both of us, and that'll be easy. And I think Mo, when things started to go bad here, got into this mindset. It's like, I must conquer everyone. It's going to be hard to make. It's harder to make trades when you have that kind of thing. So, and that's been his rep in the past. I have no idea about now.
As someone who can often come across as overly aggressive, I do respect that mentality. And we have actually, this is a really cool series that we're doing at The Athletic where our national writers canvassed executives throughout the league and talked about, it's I think a 4-part series, part 3 dropped today, how execs negotiate with each other. And I think series 2 talked about the importance of the do's and the don'ts, and being straight up and being honest and transparent goes a long way than playing any kind of games. And I'm not in the room. I'm not on the phone calls. I don't know how John Mozeliak negotiates with the other executives. I don't know how Chaim Bloom negotiates with other executives. But I thought this story in particular was really illuminating on how that all works. Again, I think 4-part series out on The Athletic. Check it out. Also up on The Athletic, you can stay up to date with all the things we got going on. This is from last night, what I'm hearing about the Cardinals trade deadline with less than 48 hours to go. Some info on Helsley, Matz, and Nolan Arenado, no substantial traction picking up on his trade front there. We also, if I can figure out how to do this correctly, have a live blog at The Athletic where you can stay up to date on all of the trades here. I'll pull it up for you guys.
I was looking at it just before we started. It's great.
It's really helpful. I use it. I never close the tab on my computer. This is open all the time. Updated literally by the minute with any kind of news, rumors, analysis. And it's from all 30 teams. It's not just Cardinal specific. It's a really handy tool. While we were going in on our segment, however, the relief market did start to pick up. The Athletic's Ken Rosenthal reporting that Andrew Chafin and Luis Garcia from the Nationals are heading to the Angels. I do not know what the Angels are doing. Apparently, they're not selling, but
Okay.
So the relief market.
Okay. I would have sworn you were going to tell me the Blue Jays or the Reds or somebody like that. Maybe even I was even like a team that's still in it that needs bullpen help, like the Rangers, the Angels.
Okay. So market's heating up. Andrew Chafin and Luis Garcia are headed to Anaheim. We're headed to a quick break. A message from DraftKings. We'll get into some non-trade deadline news about the roster, about AAA, all that good stuff. Be right back. Nothing beats relaxing on a hot summer day and watching baseball, and the simplest way to get in on the action is to download the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. Pick 6 is available right here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun. Don't settle for a smaller payout. Switch to Pick 6. And right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code FOUL, that's code FOUL, for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Bonus picks expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
All right. Some unfortunate news to start the week on Monday. On Friday, the news was announced on Monday. Tekoa Roby underwent Tommy John surgery. He'll miss the 2026 season, most likely won't be ready for 2027. That's a significant blow no matter how you look at it. He entered the season as the as the Cardinals' number 6 overall prospect, according to the Athletics' Keith Law. But no matter where you get your prospect rankings, whether it's from Baseball America, MLB Pipeline, the overwhelming consensus was that Tekoa Roby was a top 10 pick in the organization. And he was having a really strong year, promoted to AAA in June, was building up some consideration to be, under consideration for a rotation spot come spring training. Instead, it's another devastating hit. This is what happens when you have guys that throw hard with a ton of spin. These kinds of injuries, unfortunately, are not, they are league spread. This is not just a Cardinals exclusive problem. So a real bummer for the organization. I was really excited for Roby next year. And as we know, Bernie, AAA depth continues to be a big problem for this organization. I wonder if that's something the organization is looking to address at the deadline with some of their returns.
Yeah, because it isn't just Roby. Cooper Yerpe needed Tommy John, and Sem Robichaud needed, I believe, Tommy John, but they're non-factors for 26. And those are tough blows for an organization that is really thin on starting pitching, which will be a priority. Can I just point out one silver lining? And there's nothing good about a good prospect like Roby having surgery, okay? But there is a silver lining. When the Cardinals got him from the Rangers, everything you read about it was like, look, he's got really good stuff, but he's got recurring elbow problems. And then he came here. It was the same thing. They had to shut him down a couple times. These recurring elbow problems because he never had surgery. He'd put it off. We think he'll be okay. Well, clearly that wasn't going to go away. And it was inevitable that he would have Tommy John surgery. And I'm looking at it this way. He's had it, and he's going to put that stuff behind him. All these delays, stops and starts, elbow sore, shut it down, elbow sore. So, you get the thing done, and then you can move on with your career. And I think that could be a positive because the Cardinals will still have him at full eligibility, like for 6 seasons, basically. And so that's okay. I know that it doesn't sound okay to him because he won't be able to pitch until 2027, but there can be some value in this given his long history of elbow issues.
And he's only 23 years old, so there's time. I think Roby is a really exciting talent. It just stings because it looks like he was figuring things out. I mean, he was nasty in AA, some really high strikeout numbers in AAA as he adjusts to that level of talent. And it's just an unfortunate break for an organization that really needs depth in a lot of areas, which apparently now includes the outfield because Iván Herrera, new left fielder for the St. Louis Cardinals, made his first career start in left field on Monday. It has a perfect 1,000% career fielding percentage in left field because he successfully recorded his one and only put out that night. This is a move that we talked about on the podcast. We talked about with Ollie Marmol about the Cardinals maybe entertaining Herrera in the outfield in the offseason. I didn't think this was going to occur in the last week of July, but the Cardinals are doing it for a reason that makes sense. We know that Herrera is not going to catch for the rest of the season, but keeping him at just DH really clogs up the roster for so many other guys, and it also limits Herrera's positional flexibility. So they think Herrera is athletic enough to go out there and try out the corner outfield. And I would agree. Herrera is very, very athletic. But they can't have him be the DH every day because you're going to take away at-bats from Nolan Gorman. Alec Burleson needs a half day every now and then. And Nolan Gorman needs a half day every now and then. You can't just have Herrera as your everyday DH because it complicates the rest of the lineup. At this point, with the Cardinals projecting to sell and the next 2 months maybe looking not as optimistic, I'm okay with the Cardinals experimenting the next 2 months. It's kind of what the season is for. And Bernie, I know you have a lot of good points about this and I want to hear it. But my main takeaway is it weird? Yeah, a little bit. Are we maybe gonna see some ugly plays? We might, but the Cardinals went into the season hoping to find out answers about their players. They seem to have found out that Iván Herrera is not their catcher of the future. But now they have the opportunity. They also found out that he is the bat. He is a bat of the future for sure. Now they have the opportunity to find out if outfield is a reasonable position for him. And if the Cardinals finish 2025 season and they have definitively answered that Iván Herrera is not their catcher of the future, but he can hit, that's still a win for me in evaluating the organization because you answered something definitively, and that was the goal of this season.
Yeah, there's so much here. First of all, I love this move. And I love this move because it also represents that the Cardinals are fully connected to reality here. This is a chance to get a head start on what you want to happen going forward. You would love for him to be able to be your left fielder because it makes all the sense in the world. Because let me tell you something. I did some research on this yesterday. A couple things. One thing, I'll be really, really, really quick. I'm talking about homegrown players. I'm talking about people signed or developed by the Cardinals. In terms of what he's done so far in his career, and granted, it's a relatively small sample. This is the most successful right-handed hitter developed by the Cardinals in terms of where his weighted runs created plus is so far. The most successful, or at least so far, the best right-handed hitter they have developed since a guy named Pujols. I'm not saying he is Pujols. I'm saying he's the best right-handed bat that they selected, signed, and developed since Pujols. That has been a real big problem within the organization. They've had to go trade for right-handed hitters who can play the outfield. And this is one of their own. So why not get started on this? Like, why sit there and be stupid and say, well, we can still catch these other teams? No, you can't. Not with that starting pitching.
We're 10 games back in the division, and the rotation has like a 500 ERA right now.
So, I mean, I was sort of, debating with fans on X, and I don't understand why they're so upset about this. Iván Herrera may be your best hitter, right? It's either him or Contreras, but Iván Herrera is growing into it. He's going to be a great hitter. He already is. Okay, let me say something. Your outfield, in terms of like counting plate appearances, taken by guys who were playing outfield in that game, not playing another position. Since the start of last season, the Cardinals outfield offensively has had the worst production in the National League. And if you even sort of take it down to another level, we all know they have a lot of left-handed hitters in their outfield.
Yep.
Over the last 2 years, right-handed hitting outfielders, and a lot of that's Jordan Walker, but right-handed hitting outfielders in the Cardinals have hit 206 with the 324 slugging percentage, and they're, according to weighted runs created plus, they're 31% below average offensively. Well, we have a guy we think we can play outfield. Oh, he's a right-handed bat. Oh, we have no offense from their outfield, our outfield, except when Burleson's out there. Well, here's a chance to boost our outfield capability offensively. Okay, that's a good reason. B, we have time to work on this. Like, we're not saying, well, he's our left fielder for the next 10 years. No. They're getting the process started. And C, if you can get him to be a good bat in left field and really upgrade your offense out there and give you more right-handed presence out there, it also opens up the DH spot for another good bat who might otherwise be blocked. So I know I sound, I'm exasperated. Like, so what is the problem here? This is the upside, and the ceiling on this is outstanding. And, another thing I don't understand is people who never learn from history. The Cardinals under Tony La Russa over and over and over again always said left field is a bat first position. I don't really give a damn about the guys playing defense because it's the easiest position to play. Some people say no, first base is. Go ask Lance Berkman about that. He said, oh, my God, I hated playing first base. I hated it. I was like, Tony, no, put me in right field. No, I don't want to play first base. That is tough. I don't know why people assume that's the easiest position to play. Anyway, La Russa always sacrificed defense for offense. And some of the guys he put out there were awkward looking. Okay, Chris Duncan was awkward looking. But the year they won the World Series in 2006, The dude slugged 590. Okay. I don't care that he wasn't, graceful in left field. He could hit. You got his bat in the lineup. You could live with some defensive flaws. They didn't cost you games. His slugging won you games. Matt Holliday, a guy that, I looked at every year he was below average defensively in left field. But he, in terms of wins above replacement from 2009 through 2015, he was the top outfielder in the National League, 6 all-star teams, MVP votes in 4 seasons. He anchored teams that were going to the playoffs every year. He had great numbers in runners in scoring position. He had great numbers. He was like top 5 offense among all outfielders. Okay, did he look clumsy playing left field? Yeah. And people used to send me emails going nuts. Oh, this is a disgrace. It is a bat first position. If you get a good defender out there, okay, that's great. But if I remember, as you do, there was a thought around town, Alec Burleson in the early days trying to play corner outfield. It's like, oh my gosh, he looks like a big, water buffalo out there just running wild. He'll never be able to play outfield. He'll be awful. Okay. Ollie Marmol gave him an ultimatum, said, look, you're going to have to get better defensively. That's all there is to it. Or we can't play you. Okay. Burleson, to his credit, worked really, really hard.
He worked
Alec Burleson. Yeah, he did. And I'll shut up after this. Alec Burleson, as of yesterday, he was a +1 in defensive runs saved in left field, and he was a +1 in outs above average in left field. He is now a slightly above average outfielder. So don't tell me, and who's a better athlete? Who runs better? Is it Herrera or Burleson?
It's Herrera.
Herrera's an athlete.
One of the most athletic guys on the team.
So you got all these people out there condemning the move before they let the process begin, and they forget already that Alec Burleson, who is not the athlete that Herrera was, has become a perfectly serviceable average corner outfielder. Do we not learn anything from what we've just watched? Anyway. You can tell I'm annoyed by this. Anyway,
I like it. I agree with you. The upside is high, and I understand again, a position change, but especially now as we pivot towards a true development season and not this halfway, balancing runway and results thing that we did in the first half. As we finish the final 2 months of the season and the Cardinals are focusing on truly 2026 and beyond, why not give some of these players a head start? Why not see what Iván Herrera can do? That was the point of this season. So I'm with you, Bernie. I'm with you there. Right. And I know we'll continue to talk about Herrera. He's not going to play there every day. It's going to be when the matchup best suggests it. They're certainly not going to put him out there when there's a heavy fly ball hitter pull side pitcher, pull side. Palante, the Cardinals felt like it was a good time to start Herrera on a Palante start because Palante, as you know, is usually on the ground and very rarely pull side in the air. So we'll continue to see him sporadically, but
right.
I have zero issue with this move.
And he's got John Jay by his side every day.
Right.
Is he going to have John Jay by his side every day in the offseason? No. Let the process begin. And you know what? I expect there to be some pratfalls. I expect them to be some stumbles, awkward moments. I expect him to mess up. I don't care. This is about the future. It's not about the remaining weeks of 2025. Get that in our skulls. If we get that in our skulls, then we'll understand.
Guys. We got to do it though. That the whole point of the next 2 months is about next year.
Right.
Some quick housekeeping before we go. Nolan Gorman started a rehab assignment with AA Springfield yesterday. That's Tuesday. Lars Nootbaar will start his today. This is Wednesday. The hope is that both players could be back by the Dodgers series. The Cardinals will wrap up their series against the Marlins tonight with Miles Miklasz on the mound. Off day in San Diego / deadline day tomorrow, and then a 3-game set with the Padres. Hopefully everyone calms down, no more drama. And then LA on Monday. So again, the hope is if the Cardinals will have both of those guys back, if not sooner. And in case you missed it, you can visit the Cardinal Territory shop for all our new merch. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's actually a link to the store right under the screen. Just scroll down like half an inch. And then all these things will pop up. We have shirts, we have mugs, we have backpacks, purses, notebooks. We're going to get hats soon. We have quarter zips, sweatshirts, a ton of stuff. A big thank you already to some who have already purchased their gear. I can't wait to see it out and about in St. Louis. All right, Bernie, have about 30 seconds to wrap this one up because trade deadline stuff is near. the game is near. I have a flight to San Diego tonight, and things are about to get crazy. So we'll have a trade deadline recap episode for you as soon as we can get to it after the deadline tomorrow. And then off in the second half, where all of a sudden our message changes, as we just talked about, from competing to the future. Can't wait to stick with that, or stick with you guys throughout the rest of the season talking about that. Bernie, thanks as always. We'll be back with you soon. You guys have a great day, and we'll be back with more deadline news when available. Thanks for watching.